So, all right, let's do this thing. Go pick up Fallon. All right.
All right, well, we are rolling.
You ready?
Ready.
You awake?
Let's do this.
You unstressed? No. You're the opposite.
You're listening to the Homeboys podcast, recorded in our Indiana office and with combined 40 years of experience. Here's your hosts, Clint and Scott.
Hey, everybody, you're with the Homeboys and the Homeboys podcast. We've got a very exciting episode for you today. We're talking about a topic that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody needs as a real estate investor. We are talking about property management.
It is awful to deal with, but it is the most important thing when it comes to making sure that your investment is sound and performing like it should.
It brings everything full circle. So we're talking about what to look for in a good PM. My name is Clint Wetherill. As always, I'm here with my buddy, Scott Adams. How's it going today?
Life is good. Life is good. I worked late last night, caught up a little. I know you're a little behind at work. You got a lot of family stuff going on.
I'm behind at life.
Yeah.
I'm behind at life. My wife is gone this week on a girls' trip.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
That's why your mom's here and everything?
Mm-hmm. That's why I got this extra set of hands.
Okay.
Ballet practice. I've got a cast coming off of my 2-year-old this week. I've got a dog at the vet right now, just like...
You guys should come over for dinner some night. I know you have a million things.
Amongst all the other appointments,
right.
I would love to come over for dinner.
Yeah.
Beer,
right?
Something, but it's gonna be a crazy week. I don't know how single parents do it. Really, that's something that's
my mom had.
I realize in times like this with my wife not here, like holy crap,
yeah,
a lot going on.
Imagine my mom. She had 2 shithead sons that were just always in trouble, running around. And she was a full-time principal at a school, so her reputation was on the line when we'd screw up.
And you were such a punk little kid anyway.
Idiot. You know? Idiot. Just pure idiocy.
It's very refreshing to see the I was going to say young man, but you're not a young man anymore.
The old man I've become.
The man that you've become.
Yeah.
But
a lot of lessons the hard way.
That's right.
A lot of lessons the hard way. But speaking of lessons.
Of lessons the hard way?
Yeah, I mean, property management, you're gonna be the star of today's podcast pretty much because this is your area of expertise. You got into this in around 2008 pretty heavily because the market crapped the bed, and you had a lot of clients you were helping flip houses, and so...
Well, what a lot of people don't know is I'm actually 25 years old, that because of my property management experience, I look like a 43-year-old man.
Yeah.
So
you're not overweight. Your skin just gets thicker and thicker.
That's what I say. I'm actually not putting on weight. It's just got really thick skin.
Yeah. But, it's a tough business to be in. So let's start with that, which is be nice to your property managers. Be nice to your property managers, and be nice to your property managers. They don't make very much for the amount of work they do. It's a volume business for them, so be nice to them. And speaking of property managers, let's talk about how someone out there should pick ones, should screen them, who they should go with. What do you think the number one thing is?
I'll kind of summarize what we're going to talk about in its entirety. 3 words: experience, systems, and people. And all 3 are very vital, and all 3 kind of play into one another. So there's going to be some overlapping, but really experience, systems, and people are the 3 biggest things. So
you think in that order of importance?
I think so, because I think experience is easy to gauge early. And we see so many people that decide, you know what, I'm going to be a property manager. And how horribly we've seen that end for clients. We had one guy here locally that ran off with damage deposit money that, just decided to be a property manager one day and, hurt a lot of people.
Right.
And, I think that situations like that could have been avoided just by saying, how long have you been a property manager? I know that kind of runs into, well, then how are there new property managers? Well, I think that a good property manager starts slowly, doesn't dive in, get 100 properties or 200 properties or more properties right away, because they're just not they don't have the bandwidth, for that. So starting, and asking about experience. And for me, I kind of became a property manager by accident. I was helping facilitate lots of property flips, not only for myself, but for other customers. And I've said it on this podcast before, the Great Recession changed everything, for me and for us in a lot of ways, that our houses stopped selling and our for sale signs got switched out for rent signs. So building our property management business started extremely slowly and helped us to build the systems and add the people, over time. So if you're looking for a good property manager in whatever market that you are, obviously we're in, Indianapolis, so we can speak to Indianapolis, but really the same rings true across the country in any market. Ask your property manager about their experience. If someone says, well, I've actually been in business for a couple of months, huge red flag.
Right.
There's so many moving parts to property management that even good people and good, smart property managers, they have to acquire that over time, and even in year 5 of property management, for me and for us, you're learning, you're adapting, you're switching your systems, you finally tune it over time. And I think that that's so important because there's no property manager that just opens up their door and has everything, streamlined and perfect from day one.
It's not possible.
It just doesn't happen.
It's just not possible.
It doesn't happen.
I have experience obviously with hundreds of properties, and I managed my own portfolio that I was working on building as in my young 20s. And the nightmares you learn, I thought that was a great way to learn. It was on my own properties. I got to make a lot of mistakes that way, and I learned a lot. And I didn't go as much into managing other people's properties as you did. I was more focused on acquisitions and some other angles, so to speak. But I still thought I knew a ton about property management. And then when you and I went into business decades ago, I realized how little I know. Mm-hmm. So even someone who has experience with literally hundreds of houses, maybe into the thousands, I still had a lot to learn. It's the experience is so important.
You had a full head of hair.
I did.
Wavy,
yep.
Long flowing hair at the time.
Skinny, pure muscle, 6-pack.
We got to find a picture of the hair the
mullet
that you had down to the shoulders
with the Steve Miller Band shirt.
That's right. We got to pull that up.
My senior picture, Steve Miller Band shirt, classy.
But the property management's what probably cost you your hair.
Yeah, for sure. It's the most stressful part of this business.
It really is.
As you know, we've lost money on all kinds of houses. In fact, we're going to do a episode on making fun of ourselves and the mistakes we made and all the money we've lost on different properties. That's nothing compared to the stress of property management.
Correct.
And anyone who's been in the business for more than one house understands this, which is part of why today's so important. So you've got experience.
So you got to talk. You got to really hone in on the experience, and that's somebody that knows real estate, inside and out, that knows transactional real estate inside and out, that has experience, renting properties, and part of the experience comes, the contracting piece and having the Rolodex. It takes experience. I mean, I couldn't imagine me going to, let's just pick a market, say Memphis, and opening up a property management company, even with all of my property management knowledge. I don't have that Rolodex that is so vital to keeping this thing going that, it's worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, just the Rolodex of, contractors and other real estate professionals and that we've gained slowly over the years that you just don't get when you go into a market. So
which let me make kind of a side point, which is not only are we talking about this in terms of our experience and what we've learned and why we're one of the top property management firms in the Midwest, but we also own properties out of state and in other markets. And you and I have had to find, hire property managers all over the place.
Property here recently, had a nightmare situation in Fort Myers and Cape Coral, Florida. That I literally had to get my family on a plane and go down there.
Down over a plumbing, wasn't there like a plumbing?
It was a plumbing issue, but then got down there, a surprise visit, and then found tenants or, it's a vacation style property
Right.
that we had, but, vacationers in the property when it was not booked out in our portal. So basically,
They're
our property
pocketing-
manager was just saying that it was vacant and pocketing all of the money.
Where was I on that? Or do you just do all the work around here and I just sit back and relax?
Pretty much. Your charm and charisma adds a lot
Carries
to
us
it.
because I own that house with you and I barely remember this. And you're
Well,
like,
we kind of doubled it up. We did a surprise visit there. Then we rented a car and went to Disney for
That's
a day.
right.
So that was.
I was
that
wondering,
that
like, why wouldn't
that was
I have
part
done
of it? We
that?
mixed
Okay.
business and pleasure together. But
so I'm not as terrible as you claim every day.
I love you to death, my friend. I love you. You do a lot, but yeah, that's just one story of thousands that we could say from nightmare situations. And those people, we should have listened to our own advice. They didn't have a ton of experience. They were referred to us by somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else that we knew.
And that's a good point. Somebody that we knew, trusted, and cared, and in a way cared about. He's a family friend, basically, a very close friend of a friend who is basically our family.
Correct.
So you can't always go on that. In fact, I would suggest you don't. The referrals are great if it's someone that you trust, that they trust, but that comes second to what we're talking about today, which is experience. And then what else? What's the next thing besides experience?
Well, after experience, you really want to dive into your property manager's systems. Yeah. And what systems do they have? And those systems really cover, it's a very broad term, but it covers advertising. You could cover the screening, of tenants. It could also be just the ongoing monitoring. Breaking those down a little bit.
I think it could be how you get paid and when you get paid. We've
Correct.
seen some systems out there that are alarm raising when a property manager doesn't pay you for 2 months and then they pay you on the 30th after 2 months. They're sitting on 2 months of your rent before you're paid.
Correct. You see that a lot where property managers will require a reserve. Yeah. It's just basically they're allowed to start a property management company with no skin in the game whatsoever. So I disagree with that. We don't require a reserve. We don't carry reserves, on our customers. That's one of the systems. But, technology changed a lot for us, and any good property manager is going to be taking advantage of all that technology has to offer. When it comes to advertising, we load everything into our property management software, pictures, descriptions, all of that. Then we hit post to internet, and we're on over 65, real estate websites. We get tons of traffic for all of our available rentals. We have literally nothing available right now. It's been a really, hot time for leasing also, just as it has been for real estate sales. But then what do you do after you get these prospects, reaching out? There's lots of bad prospects out there. What are your systems for screening tenants? Right. We do criminal background check. We do a credit check. We do a national eviction search. We verify their income. We also verify their past residency. It's a very detailed system that really has just been repeated for the better part of a decade. That really works. And it's a system that we pay very close attention to it. We don't make any money as property managers unless our clients are successful. We don't get minimum amounts. Yep. So we only make money by collecting rent, and we collect rent the best by providing the best quality tenants that we can find.
That's a very important part of a system that these property managers have. Make sure that they're motivated in the right ways, meaning their profit centers are in the right spots. If they're charging you a monthly fee just to manage your properties, they're not motivated to get it filled. In fact, their life's easier if it's not filled because they'll be making their monthly fee and
no matter what.
Right. So you have to make sure that their system, it's baked in so that they're motivated the right way. So you've got the major softwares out there. If a property manager has Appfolio, Buildium, Rently, or any of those big box property management softwares, that's a good start for a system. Now, how they apply it and use it is a whole other story that you could get behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. And it's such a vast software that we use that, I mean, it took many years for us to truly be experts on the system, which, goes back to experience again.
Right.
But, the screening is a very important part of the systems. And then really last, as far as the systems go, monitoring the property on an ongoing basis. What does that look like? Many, and most property managers, they put a tenant in there and that's it. They're not doing any ongoing monitoring. We do 2 inspections a year that we're still monitoring the property. We're monitoring the lease. We're obviously monitoring the payment structure with the tenants. All very important pieces, and the software kind of goes into that also. We have all of our inspections loaded into our property management software that our clients have access. Many of our clients are out-of-area investors.
Right.
So we really want to offer as much information as possible. And the information is kind of twofold. We want to empower our owners to be able to see what's going on at their property, but then also, if we have all of that documentation, if there was any situation, say an eviction or you ended up in court, we literally have a vault of information why we don't really lose many of those cases when a situation does go bad.
Right.
Very few go bad. The percentages are very small, but being protected when they do is very vital.
Yeah, we're obviously owners within our own property management company because we have houses that, the company manages, and they manage them just like anyone else's. In fact,
same.
I mean, they don't ever tell me anything. I might as well be an out-of-state owner with our properties, right? But the amount of information that I can go in there and see without having to pick up the phone and ask what the heck's going on through the owner portal is unbelievable. The software has come a long way, and those systems are very important. The only asterisk to this that I would say is if there's a property manager who is kind of small and they do it all on their own, I can understand that working. We, in our history, haven't had good luck with small property managers. We have had better luck with big, experienced firms that have systems and staff in place.
In many scenarios, the larger the property management company, really the more successful that they have been.
Right.
And if they've been successful, most property managers that have been successful have done it by treating their customers right.
Yeah.
They're big for a certain reason. We always joke about how small Indianapolis truly is. We know all the local real estate investors. You get a bad name, it's over pretty quick.
Yeah.
We mentioned, a bad property management scenario, right. And, it's posted all over, different forums on the internet.
But locally, his name is mud way before it gets even to the internet.
Correct.
It's very old school in the Midwest here. You still hear about everything by word of mouth. Everyone's reputation is carried with them around here. This is the old school way of you shake people's hand, you look them in the eye, you tell them what you're going to do, and then you do it. And if you don't, there's a problem.
And another huge red flag, and it kind of goes back to experience just a little bit. If you're screening a property manager and their fee structure is considerably cheaper than the experienced property managers, it's cheaper for a reason. They don't know what they're doing. The margins are so small in property management that, in order to make money you want your property managers making money, number one. But if someone's charging you, 4%, ongoing management fee, those people are not making a profit. And if they're not making a profit, that is very scary for a real estate investor.
Right.
That's where you see, rent money's not paid out because of poor mismanagement. They don't have the money to pay out.
They don't have security deposits held.
They don't have damage deposits held.
Right.
They've used them. You see it, all the time. It's
Right.
very, very important to screen your property managers.
Yeah.
Make sure that they have the experience. Make sure that they have the right systems. And lastly, what kind of really brings it all together, and the thing that I'm most proud of, being a couple of knucklehead dudes like you and I, just a couple of regular guys, is we've really got an amazing team of people that work here.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I've really, I know you've probably noticed in some of our last meetings with some of our staff, I've tried to say, I probably don't tell you how much I appreciate you enough.
I sent you a text that way the other night.
You did, and it means something.
Yeah.
But we're so lucky. We have very little turnover.
Yep.
The experience within the people, like I said, these three facets all kind of tie in together. The experience of the people that we have.
The three things: experience, systems, and then the people.
Correct. And of course, the people kind of bring it full circle. But you look at the number of licensed professionals that we have, the amount of investment property experience, the amount of maintenance and contracting experience that we have. And we've been very fortunate. I think it's because we have a pretty fun work environment. But we turnover,
believe in each other.
The turnover is so small.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to attract quality people in today's job force because you go back a generation and people would get a job and they'd stay at companies for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Those days are kind of over.
I just read a report that the average college graduate today will have 11 different jobs, which is a lot. But when we graduated, I believe it was 8 was the average. So it just keeps going up. And before us, the average was much, much lower. You've had 2, Centos and here.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
It's funny. When my dad was still alive, he used to, always, brag about, his staff.
Right.
He had a small law firm. He had 2 women there that worked over 40 years.
Right.
At his law firm.
And they're smoking at their desks on their typewriters.
That's how it was back in the 70s and 80s. And those days are just. I'd always say, Dad, you don't know how lucky you are. I mean, that doesn't happen. But from top to bottom. The people that we have here is pretty phenomenal. And, I take a lot of pride in the fact that our customers call in and they're still talking to the same people that they talked to 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Right. In many cases, over a decade with many of them.
Correct. Our rehab superintendent, been here for nearly 15 years.
Yeah.
Our office coordinator's been here for 7 years. All of our leasing staff been here, many years.
Right.
Sales manager,
right.
You and I obviously,
Right.
Been plugging away at over, 20
Right.
years each.
Even our leasing agents have been here forever.
Right.
Forever. And some of them started in-house and then wanted to go out into the field. And part of the thing is if one way to check to see how valuable the people that you're working with are is to ask how they're treated. I know it would be a weird question to ask your property manager, hey, do you give your employees a 401k and, health insurance? But it's okay to ask weird questions and to just see how they treat their employees.
Well, that environment that you speak of, like, we offer 401k,
Right.
we offer medical, insurance. It's kind of unheard of in real estate.
Right.
We're a real estate brokerage at heart, and you just don't see those kind of things for employees, which is why we've got the loyalty that we have with our staff. And, it's so important to be able to know who you're talking to. I've got a vacation rental in Panama City Beach, Florida, and literally I'm talking to somebody different every other week. It's bananas. It's crazy. And they treat their staff like crap.
Right.
Went to dinner with one of their staff members.
Their main rehab superintendent, basically.
Correct,
Right.
and it's like we just get treated like garbage.
Right.
And I think it's important to know the culture of your property management company. It's why I love it when customers come to town.
Right.
I love it. We're tied to our desk a lot, analyzing data. Whenever we have customers, it lets us be human. We had our biggest customer, come to town this past week. We got to enjoy a steak dinner with him, which was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Missed seeing him. It was great.
Yeah.
Great to hang out. It was, really special. But, he said that. Mentioned Jamie,
Right.
our sales manager. Mentioned Barry. Mentioned Betty.
He sent me a text after. He said, I don't know why I don't come out there every 6 months.
And we welcome that.
Right.
It's we like having that relationship with our customers.
For sure.
I'm one of the owners of our property management company, but yet, and we've got a large staff, underneath of us, but my cell phone is in the hands of every single one of our customers, and I welcome their calls.
Right.
I love helping them, even when the situation sucks.
Right.
When stuff is not going right.
Well, the truth is that's the only time it lands on yours and my desk.
Very
If
true.
something's gone wrong.
Right.
Horribly wrong, because we have such a competent staff, such an experienced staff that, honestly, it's rare something makes it all the way to us. When you've got a full-time CPA on staff and licensed, real estate people with as much experience as they have, it's only emergency situations that land on our desk. But the people that the company has that you're looking at, it's just important to see that culture, to also make sure that they're licensed. Just about any firm our size will be licensed, but it's always good to check that. You can always check with the Secretary of State for any state you're looking at to make sure that they are licensed in business and in property management or as a real estate brokerage.
Yeah, so I think that, kind of closing out the people, I think it's important to ask the employees of the property management company what happens when things go wrong.
Yeah,
it's easy. When everything is going right, that's anybody could do that.
Yeah, Aaron Chapman, who is one of these just amazing people out there in our world. He's a lender. He's a star in the lending world. He and I became close over the mortgage company he worked for about a decade ago melted down. Like, they literally melted down. It wasn't his fault.
Down.
He just happened to be there when it happened. And you really get to see a person's character and what they're all about when things go wrong.
It's a great point, because literally we had like 30 transactions with this lender, and I'm just throwing a number out, but it's somewhere close to that. And we had to really start.
I bet it was
over.
30.
And we came out of that horrible experience liking Aaron Chapman better than we did before.
Correct.
Because we saw his character.
Yeah, we got screwed, and we love the guy who was our representative of people screwing us.
So, I always try to train the staff, run to the problems. The problems give you an opportunity to show your customer why they are in business with you.
Right.
And, I have very few God-given skills, but overcoming objections is one of them. I'm very good at overcoming, obstacles. I always thought I was the best at it until I met you. But I think it's a genuine, we care about our people, which kind of bringing this all full circle, our success is based on our customer success. And
100%.
We have to facilitate our customer success, which, helps us grow as a company. So it's really about being able to get a relationship with your property manager. Like I said, I make myself available to all of our customers.
Right.
But you said it in the beginning, and our biggest customer that was in town last week, he said this. He has a real estate podcast.
Right.
And I've mentioned it before on the show, where he looked at the camera and said, "Be kind to your property managers." And I told him that whenever we were out eating our steak dinner, that I've always used that line,
right?
Because we had a customer last week. I think it's important to point out that was very accusatory.
Yeah.
And I want to say this about our company, but it's something to look for in a property manager. We want to help our customers.
Right.
We want to hear, what is going on and what questions you have. We want to help. When a customer becomes accusatory and, starts waving their arms, it does not help anyone.
Yeah,
it doesn't help anyone.
Let's put it this way. Your relationship with your property manager should be as much a partnership as anything else. When you start to turn it into an adversarial relationship, or you believe they're just trying to get in your pocket every chance you get, the relationship will not succeed. They won't be able to help you if you treat them that way. And if you believe they are acting that way, do not work with them. So when it reaches that point, when there's a relationship that becomes adversarial versus each other trying to lift each other up and succeed, then that's not a good relationship to be in. And our relationships across the board with our clients are us trying to lift them up and help them succeed. That is the core of our business. And if that isn't appreciated, or they have, in this particular case, we found out that they only have one property with us, and they have like 19 and with other markets that are going very badly. Mm-hmm. And so I think that bleeds over because he might have some relationships out there that are being treated that way. But, we put a stop to it, and we said, we're literally trying to help you, and you treating us this way is unacceptable. And
to his credit,
yeah,
you sent a very poignant email, basically summarizing the things you just said. He received it very well.
He did.
So kudos to him.
Right.
We all, it can be a very emotional business. That's why property management, is finding the right property manager is so key, because they kind of bring your investment full circle.
Right.
But really, like you said, it's got to be a partnership.
Yeah.
It's a business marriage. It truly is. And we want to help, our customers. And there's lots of property managers out there that share the same sentiment. You just have to really, look for them and, do your homework. I've got a call here as soon as we get done taping this podcast for someone that is looking for our property management services from California.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm literally going to be sharing the exact same things that I shared on this podcast. Our experience, the systems that we have, and the people that we have. It's so very vital.
What's funny is we got that by an email from someone out of California looking for property management. They have a couple properties here. And both you and I at 10 p.m. last night.
Yeah, it was after 10.
We're emailing excited about it. We have hundreds and hundreds of owners, so many properties under management, but you and I still care enough that we might be able to help another person. And it's if you get that feeling from your property manager, and they are out there, there's property managers who want to see you succeed because it will make them succeed. Make sure that's in there. Besides the fact that you want experience, systems, and the right people, make sure that culture is there,
That also speaks to the fact that you and I don't have any lives.
No, none.
We're responding, Monday night, at 10 o'clock, to prospectful, customers.
Our friends are probably together watching sports. You and I are like, yes, a client.
Doing something fun. That's right. But we've always been that way, with responding to customers. And I think that it shows that we care. And that's the biggest thing, is letting our customers know we care. And, I'm not always able to respond at 10 o'clock. I try to, as much as I can, because it shows that person that, I care about their business.
Yeah.
I want it. I want you to reach out to us, and I want, us to respond, in a timely fashion. That's something that we drill home, to our people, that work for us. But
and that has been passed down to our staff too. That same culture that I think both of us have done a decent job at has been passed down through our company. And so watch for that, obviously. We could go on for hours bragging about how great, these people are that work for us. But, those are the main systems, and you're the property management expert. So you at home just heard this from someone with more experience than anyone else I've ever met in the industry. And I speak across the country, shoulder to shoulder with the most experienced and successful single-family residential real estate investors in the country. I stand shoulder to shoulder with them, and not a single one of them could hold your cup of water.
Well, I appreciate that. It's something that's grown slowly over time, and it's really the care and concern that we pour in, to our properties. That starts with the properties we provide, obviously, but then also the properties that we manage. We're pretty selective on good properties and in good neighborhoods, and then really just communicating, with our customers. And, it's grown, over time. I joke around, I've got very humble beginnings. I'm from a very small, town in the country, southern Indiana. And, I joke that, we've got more tenants than my hometown has people. Under management.
Holy cow!
It's pretty nuts when you put it that way. But I never. Yeah. We started with those humble beginnings, and because of what we pour into it, we've been very blessed, and praise the Lord for that. And we really enjoy, helping our customers. So, to summarize, what to look for in a good property manager. Start with experience. Very important that you're getting in to a relationship with someone that truly knows what they're doing. Get into their systems. Ask about their day-to-day systems, and then get to know the people that work there. We love client visits. We love showing people around the office and putting names and with
faces
the voices.
to the names.
Yeah, so it's something that we take a lot of pride in. So. Very challenging thing. Any other words of wisdom, Dr. Adams?
No, it's don't be scared to interview property managers. You've got a good baseline for what to look for with this, and if you are in Indianapolis, come see us because we have the top of the food chain over here.
I don't know about that, but I will take the kind words,
Yep.
especially with all the stress I've got going on with my wife being out of town and having to manage 2 and 4-year-old girls, this week. But
just say "oosa" a lot.
Serenity now.
Yep.
Serenity now. Yep. But anyhow, that's our show for today. If you have any questions, we would love to field them, whether it's about property management in Indianapolis or just property management in general. You heard it from the doctor and myself today. We're glad that you joined us. Real quick, see that subscribe button down there? Give it a little tappy. We love providing these podcasts for you.
Tappy.
Little taparoo. But please join us for our next podcast. Until then, happy investing.